My contributor, Saloto, this one on about Dr. G. I don't come again this morning time with just a word of inspiration and reflection about the evolution of a revolution. I feel say we don't go through a very difficult couple of days and weeks, and with every passing day, my own personal assessment of our progress, the suggestion for me say we'll be on course. Being on course now is sound of optimism, but birth out of the realization say we don't essentially our revolution not be tested in every possible way all revolutions they be tested. This morning I just want to come for put this reflection piece for make each of we just get an assessment of which it go on. I mean, maybe rocket science for any person who be truly interested in the evolution of the revolution, for be able to see how things don't evolve and get an assessment of where we've been. Every revolution gets two principal characteristics, amongst other things. Every revolution is suffer from a bit of politics, that is power play and positioning, and every revolution is suffer from deep infiltration. Revolution by nature an overthrow of an established system. And every time you struggle for an overthrow an established system, an established unjust system, you struggle for you to contend against an existing power base, which typically has deep pockets, deep resources, and extensive networks. So that entity where you struggle for, where revolutionists seek for redress and for adjust them, they always respond, and then the extent to which they succeed for respond, for master the revolutionary their strategies them and succeed for respond, go determine whether they succeed or fail. So every revolution get to be infiltrated. That one is standard. And I feel again for understand say our revolution as well could be infiltrated. And every revolution they suffer from power play and power politics. Now power play and power politics now a group of people they essentially you see the revolution as an opportunity for reposition and realign your political career. People that get political ambition and aspiration. Some of those people that just been are just down outright manipulators, and some of those people that be very susceptible for be sellout. Every revolution get chances, people they just come into the thing for campaign jumbo, and depending on which side things then go, they won't come out as victorious. And if you observe into our revolution, you go see you get a vast majority of this kind of people. Them, the people they be political, people they be chancers, and people where they actually infiltrate revolution. Now, I want to focus on if you think about the politicians, for example, now people where they get oscillating positions and they get very flexible convictions. People they talk one thing today, can't talk another thing the next day. And you will realize that people in that way, that you go with the tide. Now, Maleba Agobala, for example, started off like a very classical revolutionary. He was saying all the right things, doing all the right things, but after he was arrested and locked up and came out, I think that he settled down into becoming a wise politician. So, for place where he did and the way they play cards them, at the back of his mind, the idea and say, irrespective of how this thing turns out and whatever the outcome is, he comes out a winner. So he's essentially polishing his image, not losing relevance, saying the right things, trying to do the right things, attending the relevant occasions, presenting himself as the benign, attractive alternative, so that when stakeholders want to get people with whom they can engage, he's a stakeholder. So either essentially get conversation with everybody who matters as far as this thing be concerned. So he play a classical political game. He need to do revolution, because if Agobala want to be revolutionary, even in the advocacy for federalism, a level of advocacy for don't translate from what you do now. It do now maintenance, maybe outside Agobala will be the travel between Bamenda and Yaoundé, meet up lawyers, them advocate for their issues, them call strike actions. Why they need to still call that level of strike actions, them advocate for the federalism way they talk to they advocate for. So those are maybe revolutionarism, These are now people who have settled to be politicians and they are waiting to milk the thing at the end of the day. Within the restorationist camp, you get politicians. Of course, we don't hear of stories where people they say they don't buy positions, they put their investment expectation of benefits, and so on and so forth. You get people the way the fact that they be politicians, not their malleability, their facility, to move between positions. On the one hand, on Monday they endorse somebody, on Tuesday they disendorse him, on Wednesday they in alliance with A, on Thursday they in alliance with B, on Friday. At the end of the day, you look at them closely and you don't know what they are all about. They are playing their cards properly, they are going with the flow, they are classical politicians. Bo Herbert, for example, you know, na classical revolutionary politician. Na person where essentially he play cards in such a way where he make sure say in a tarnish image to the extreme left, in a tarnish image to the extreme right. Elvis Cometan, a similar kind of politician. Now people the way they ride the revolutionary train, but they observe the times, see how well they change, for know how to position themselves. And this one na counter-revolutionarism because they don't really be people where they be passionate, they don't be people they get a cause where they actually fight for. They essentially go with the flow, you know. So they go criticize Sako on Monday, go for APNC, go talk to Sako, be compromised, and then on Tuesday come preside over the installment of Sako as president at the detriment of Sisiko. That's Elvis Kometa for you. The same story with Bo Herbert. Classical revolutionary politicians who are counter-revolutionary. And if you look at from their track record for the last 2-3 years, now people in this way, they typify the curse of the Southern Cameroonian. The fact that we are not able to produce leaders that have convictions, that have a backbone, that will articulate a position and stick to it. Now, we need to be used to the fact that we'll get to deal with this kind of people them as part of our process of change. The extent to which they succeed at their enterprise will determine how fast or how slow we move towards our ultimate objective, but we need to recognize that they exist, recognize their gameplay, and know how to deal with them. The final category of people I want to talk about, and one of the most important facts, and I want to make what people really realize, say this one is a reality today, I feel so we don't take them for granted a lot. Now the category of infiltrators. Now infiltrators simply defined are people who would come would infiltrate the movement and go very up, right close to the center of power and deceive the masses of the people that they are fighting for the restoration of independence, whereas they are on the payroll of La République du Cameroon. Characteristics of infiltrators are people who are constantly trying to kill or negate the effort of any other group. Any person will be truly interested in the advancement of the revolution will understand, say, you want no fit pursue the objective of the meeting. You know, every person will pursue this thing with the understanding, say, this fight na for technical boya, get the humility for realize, say, in a fit fight, this fight you want. Now, why that they go tend to find possibilities of collaborating with like-minded people. If you see people there that they collaborate with like-minded people, where they collaborate on an issue-by-issue basis, where they take time to investigate things, them, to establish truth, people that struggle for take up a position, you know, which is based upon principle, which is based upon an understanding of the evolution of things. You go see say na people the way they be genuine. Counter-revolutionaries they don't be typical infiltrators them. They constantly attack people. They constantly churn out lies. They constantly churn out half-truths. They constantly manipulate public opinion. They constantly set up people them for accuse them. And you go know say that one of the classical characteristics of a person where it work with the République du Cameroon, of a person where it be used as an infiltrator. Ask yourself the question, for the people that work for this revolution, does it matter who gets us to Boya? If you be genuinely interested in the outcome of this thing, it not gonna matter for you whether na A take us go Boya or na B take us go Boya. You go be able to recognize A effort, say this thing contribute for moving forward or it contribute for moving backward. But if you not notice some people in the way they don't consistently make a point for lie about other people them, for ban other people them, for stop other people them from being involved in the revolution, for stop other people them from being, bringing in their own contribution, for identifying that people have been compromised. Yeah? Any person who stand, look, lie says it could be compromised without evidence, and then come around, use that lie, build another lie, and then build another lie, and then eventually go install itself as president. Now a person where it work with an agenda. The person where it share the characteristics of a classical infiltrator. Any person where go wake up, attack SCBC as the voice of our people, failing to recognize the contribution that SCBC made in this revolution from 2016. Lie all those lies with the single objective of silencing their voice. Now person where they act like an infiltrator. Now person where you know get the revolution at heart. Now person where you know go lose sleep if SABC be buried. died and buried. Person no go live sleep if Sisi could be dead and buried. Person no go live sleep if Ayaba be captured today and buried. All these people, they consistently they attack people the way their only interest now for advances revolution. Now people they take their instructions from elsewhere. They need to work now for the interest of this revolution. I want to make we open our eyes and see them. See how for the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks, attacks on specific groups did not increase. No matter attack particularly on Ayaba don't increase. Attack on Sisiku Ayaba alliance don't increase. Ask yourself the question, say, if the Sisiku Ayaba alliance get the potential for bring me to Boya, why any person will be genuinely interested in this revolution get any problem with them? Ask yourself the question, say, if we ask genuine questions about what did happen for Switzerland, why any person will get a secondary agenda, get any difficulty for just come outright can explain, say, no, my brother them, na tindo me the think, na so I see anything get for happen, make we approach and so, we rub our minds together, come up with the best idea, and then push our way forward. Any person where he own only agenda, now for find out which group they feel say the work with the Republic of Cameroon, which group they feel say don't be compromised, consistently the attack with lies and manipulation. Those are your characteristics of your infiltrators. People who take the instructions from La République du Cameroun, people whose objective is to make sure that they slow down the flow of this revolutionary train so that we appear to be discouraged. Now, why that? I want to take this opportunity to address my brother Abdul Karim. I believe that a person will be sincere in aspiration and in desire for see collaboration, unity of purpose as he talk. I believe they be sincere in the aspiration where they articulate the fact say may we work together. But we need to get to terms with the fact say we get to come to terms for agree, for accept. And I believe a lot of people will be in denial. But we need to come to terms with the fact that we have been infiltrated. And we have been infiltrated at a very high level. At a very high level. And so, any person where they advocate for some kind of collaboration, where in it one take into account the notion, say, we don't be highly infiltrated at a very high level, na person where it misread the writings on the wall. All the people that they advocate, where they cry, say, make we unite, make we form single leadership, and all of that, and so on and so forth. Now, people that they fail to realize, say, we don't be infiltrated, and we don't be infiltrated at a senior level. And if we take into consideration the fact that we don't be infiltrated, and say, some of our people that they work directly with the Republic of Cameroon, we need to, at the same time, they advocate for some kind level of unity, not take into account that we are not fighting on the same team, we are not fighting for the same goal. If you don't look at the other characteristics of infiltrators, now the fact say, as of their strategy of their involvement, it be extremely divisive. Now people they attack other people, their sources of income. Now people they attack people, they raise money to give other people them, and they themselves not be sufficiently accountable. Another character of infiltration, now people they get involved in situations them, and it results to either confusion or the loss of the life of our generals. Take them systematically, and then they come out of there with use distinct characteristics for turn around, blame other people. When Ivo died, same thing. Characteristics, one or two people then leak out information, blah, 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 blah. Hey, La République don't kill Ivo. And then they go turn them now. Immediately that kind of happen, they go turn and blame them on top of Ayaba. What happened with Guzan, now a completely isolated once-off incident. Maybe we come back what happened will be last week. What happened will be last week. Now say, you must ask yourself the question. If we are all fighting on the same side, and if we all understand what it takes to train a single sniper, why would you take someone like Fon? You tie his hand, he is defenseless, he's a prisoner of war, and in that position you put a bullet in his head. Who benefits from that action? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. And in all of that rigmarole then, and all the people that they catch them from, generally they function from Alabo camp, people that they cover a significant part of Mezam, all through to the people they catch them, all the 37 people they lack of day. Who benefits from getting those people captive? And when that confusion don't be created, so they don't come past go kill Chacha. Who benefits from getting that thing, person captive? Who was it that was being entrusted with information about the movement of General Amigo? Who was it that was being trusted with the movement, about information about the movement of all these other people? Who is it that when he gets involved in a specific military situation, the people end up dead and the Republic ends up taking the blame for the death? my people are begging to shine our eyes. This is not a revolution. If we fail to take into account the reality, say we go be infiltrated. If we fail to take into account the reality, say some of people that they work directly with people taking instruction from like the people in Cameroon, then we know so we'll be involved in a revolution. As for me, I don't get to a point where I don't come to terms with the fact say some people that they say they work for you, they didn't work for me. I don't come to terms with the fact say Sako Ikome, they work directly with instructions from the presidency, directly with instructions from the Republic of Cameroon. I don't come to terms with the fact say all the people that way they work, if you see in modus operandi, all the people that they work with they get one common characteristics. They attack other people, they sow confusion among the soldiers, and at the end of the day, as a result of their actions, either people give up, people sell out, or people get killed. Now, for anybody to expect us to come out of that assessment and to go on to forge a collaborative platform is to endorse the killing of this revolution. Make we come to terms with the fact, say, some people they get a different agenda, some people they get a different paymaster, some people they get a different people that they work for, and other people they still work for this revolution. And make we realize, say, infiltration is a part and parcel of every revolution. It the responsibility come upon each and every one of us for watch our back, know who we associate with, and then find like-minded people then, go back to the drawing board, re-strategize, and see how roll out this revolution. But the realization or the reality of the fact that we are going to be compromised and that we are going to be infiltrated, I think is something that we need to come to terms with and know that that is just an actual fact of every revolution. And ours has hit the place where the infiltration is taking a toll on us. The people have released their social media animals. They are going on the offensive to brainwash our people and to confuse them. They have essentially come to a place where they realize that the last strength of resistance standing from a self-defense perspective is Ayaba and ADF. And so they have released all of their arsenal to attack this this comrade of ours, who has demonstrated through his use of resources, who has demonstrated through his management and organization of strategy, who has demonstrated through the way he has rolled himself out, that he is someone who is genuinely interested in the advancement of this resource. It has taken his consistency to keep us up to the point where we are. People can blame him for being power hungry and can blame him for having an agenda to overtake. But you cannot fault him for being a sellout. You cannot fault him for failing to put the revolution first. You can definitely not fault him for misusing resources that have been placed at his disposal. And each and every one of these people who sow confusion, misuse resources, embezzle, make division, and cause our people to hit their heads, are people who are not interested in this revolution. And I feel that they are the infiltrators. Our people must stand up and call them out by name, and stop being manipulated by these manipulators who are sitting in Washington, D.C. Look at the way they attack people who are genuinely interested in the advancement of the revolution. Look at the attacks that they leveled against South Africa for everything that South Africa has been doing. South Africa gets the name of a cabal today because of some people who are sitting in Maryland whose only interest is killing and defeating the efforts of those who are interested in the advancement of the revolution. It is time that we open our eyes. May we shine our eyes to see who they actually work for this revolution, who they work against we. And make we come to terms with the fact that some people then be on payroll, some people they need to work with the advancement of this revolution, and their interest in the system make we fail. And make we begin to stop listening to these people and go back and re-strategize how to deal with the internal threat. Our threat at the moment is internal. Our threat at the moment, the threat to the success of this revolution is not sitting in Yaoundé. It's not sitting in Quartier General of Yaoundé. It's sitting right in our midst among ourselves. If we do not deal with the internal threat, we cannot stand a chance against the external threat. We have been infiltrated at a very high level. I'm not going to come out here and tell you that I have evidence of the people who have been infiltrated, but our people should open their eyes and realize that we are dealing with infiltrators. People have been infiltrated at the highest level. That is something that we're supposed to wake up to, take stock of that, and plan with that in mind. And so I just want to leave this word so that we should know that that is the reality of every revolution. The politicians among ourselves who are trying to position themselves for power, that is there. It's there to stay. It's not going to go away. There are people that we have to manage. The infiltrators, we need to be able to deal with them so that this revolution will succeed. Because if they have their way, this thing is going to come to an end. It's going to die, and we would have to come back to it again from another generation. Let us look out for infiltrators and deal with them because they are the real problem and the challenge we are facing.